Dr. Elena Rodriguez stepped off the transport at Luna Base with her team of engineers and scientists. She carried a single briefcase that contained the most important documents in human history. Admiral Morrison was waiting for her at the docking bay, along with General Carter, who had flown up from Earth just hours before. "Doctor, we need to know everything about Project Titan," Morrison said without any greeting. "The President has given you full authority to brief us on whatever you've been building." Elena nodded. She had been expecting this day for 10 years, ever since the project began. She had hoped it would come under better circumstances, but humanity was out of time for careful planning. "Follow me," she said. "But I have to warn you, what you're about to see will change how you think about space warfare forever." They walked through the corridors of Luna Base to a section that most people never saw. Elena placed her hand on a scanner, and thick metal doors slid open to reveal an elevator that went deep underground. The ride down took 5 minutes, and Morrison realized they were going much deeper than he had ever been before. When the doors opened, they stepped into a massive command center that rivaled anything on Earth. Dozens of technicians worked at computer stations, monitoring displays that showed star charts, engineering diagrams, and streams of data that Morrison could not understand. "Welcome to Project Titan Control," Elena said. "From here, we monitor and coordinate the most ambitious construction project in human history." She led them to a conference room where Chief Engineer Danny Wright was waiting with a holographic projector. Danny had been working on secret military projects for 20 years, but even he looked nervous about what they were going to reveal. "Gentlemen, what do you know about gravitational manipulation?" Elena asked. Morrison and Carter exchanged glances. "The theoretical stuff that scientists talk about in journals," Carter replied. "Moving objects without touching them?" "It's not theoretical anymore," Danny said. He activated the holographic projector, and a 3-dimensional image appeared in the center of the room. It showed a rocky sphere about the size of a small moon, covered with geometric patterns that pulsed with blue light. "This is Terra Nova," Elena explained. "It used to be a dwarf planet in the Kuiper Belt. Now it's the most powerful weapon system ever created by any species." Morrison stared at the image. "You turned a planet into a spaceship?" "Not just a spaceship," Danny corrected. "A mobile weapons platform with enough firepower to destroy entire fleets. Terra Nova has a mass of approximately 10 to the 18th kilograms. When we accelerate that much matter to combat speeds, the kinetic energy alone could crack a continent." Elena walked around the hologram, pointing out different features. "The surface installations you see are shield generators, weapon arrays, and propulsion systems. But the real innovation is underneath. We've hollowed out the interior and built a city inside. Terra Nova can support a crew of 50,000 people for decades without resupply." General Carter leaned forward. "How is this possible?" "The engineering challenges alone should be impossible. 10 years ago, a mining expedition in the Kuiper Belt found something unusual," Elena replied. "Artifacts left behind by an ancient civilization. We've never figured out who built them or when, but we learned how to use their technology." Danny brought up another hologram showing the interior of Terra Nova. Vast chambers housed enormous machines that seemed to bend space around themselves. "Gravitational drives," he explained. "They don't push against anything. They manipulate space-time itself to move the planet wherever we want it to go." Morrison was having trouble processing what he was seeing. "You're telling me that we can move planets like spaceships?" "Not just move them," Elena said. "We can accelerate them to significant fractions of light speed. Terra Nova can travel from Jupiter to Mars in less than 6 hours." Carter stood up and paced around the room. "What about weapons? You said it could destroy fleets." Danny switched the hologram to show Terra Nova's weapon systems. "Primary armament consists of gravitational lances that can collapse matter at the molecular level. Secondary weapons include particle beam arrays that draw power directly from the planet's core. Defensive systems include shields that can absorb the energy of multiple nuclear explosions without showing strain." How many ships like this do we have? Morrison asked. Elena smiled for the first time since the briefing began. Terra Nova is operational and ready for combat. New Eden will be online in 36 hours. Liberty's Dawn needs another week, but we can accelerate the schedule if necessary. Morrison felt hope rising in his chest for the first time since the alien ultimatum. 3 planet ships against their entire fleet. What are our chances? That depends on how smart their commanders are, Elena replied. No species in galactic history has ever weaponized celestial bodies. Their tactics and strategies are based on conventional spacecraft. They won't know how to fight us. Danny brought up tactical simulations on the hologram. Each planet ship is essentially invulnerable to conventional weapons. Their largest missiles would barely scratch our surface. Their energy weapons can't penetrate our shields, and our firepower advantage is overwhelming. Carter was studying the technical specifications. What about crews? Do we have enough people to operate these things? We've been training crews in secret for 5 years, Elena said. The best pilots, gunners, and engineers from every branch of the military. Commander Amy Foster will captain Terra Nova. She's been living aboard the ship for 2 years, learning every system. Morrison was beginning to understand the scope of what they had accomplished. You've been preparing for this exact scenario. We've been preparing for humanity's survival, Elena corrected. We always knew that first contact might not be peaceful. Project Titan was our insurance policy. A technician entered the conference room and handed Elena a data tablet. She read the message and frowned. We have a problem. The exotic matter reserves are running low. We can fully outfit 3 planet ships, but that's all. If we want to build more, we'll need to capture alien technology or find new sources. Morrison looked at the tactical display again. 3 ships against thousands. The odds were still terrible, but at least they had a chance now. Can Terra Nova engage the alien fleet alone if necessary? He asked. Danny nodded. Terra Nova could probably handle a significant portion of their force. But if they concentrate everything against a single target, even we might be overwhelmed. Elena was already working on her tablet, sending messages to construction teams throughout the solar system. I'm authorizing emergency acceleration of the New Eden project. We can have her ready in 24 hours if we pull resources from Liberty's Dawn. Do it, Morrison ordered. 2 planet ships are better than 1. Carter was studying the star charts on the wall. Where are these ships located now? Terra Nova is hiding behind Jupiter, Elena replied. The gas giant's magnetic field masks our energy signature. New Eden is in the asteroid belt using conventional asteroids as camouflage. Liberty's Dawn is being built inside a hollowed-out comet near Pluto. Morrison was already planning the battle in his mind. Can we coordinate their movements? Perfectly, Danny assured him. The gravitational drives allow for instantaneous acceleration and precise maneuvering. We can position all 3 ships anywhere in the solar system within hours. Elena looked at the countdown clock on the wall. 58 hours remained until the alien deadline. Admiral, I need to ask you something important. Are we really going to fight them? Morrison thought about the alien ultimatum. Humanity could surrender and live as prisoners on Earth, never again reaching for the stars. Or they could fight with weapons that might be powerful enough to win. Doctor, in your professional opinion, can Project Titan defeat the Galactic Council's fleet? Elena was quiet for a long moment. I believe so. But even if we win this battle, there will be consequences. The galaxy will know that humanity possesses planet-killing weapons. Some species will want to ally with us. Others will see us as an even greater threat. Carter crossed his arms. So we'll make enemies either way. The difference is that if we fight and win, we'll make enemies who respect our power, Morrison replied. If we surrender, we'll make enemies who see us as weak. Danny was already pulling up construction schedules on his tablet. If we're doing this, I need to coordinate with the crews. Terra Nova should move into position behind Earth's moon. When the alien fleet arrives, we want them to see exactly what they're dealing with. Elena nodded. I'll contact Commander Foster and have Terra Nova begin its approach. But, Admiral? Once we reveal these ships, there's no going back. The galaxy will never see humanity the same way again." Morrison looked out the window at the stars beyond Luna Base. Somewhere out there, alien fleets were gathering to destroy his species. But humanity had built something that those aliens could never have imagined. They had turned worlds into weapons and made planets into starships. "Send the signal to Terra Nova," he ordered. "It's time to show the galaxy what humans can do when someone threatens our home." Commander Amy Foster stood on the bridge of Terra Nova, watching Jupiter grow smaller in the rear displays as her ship moved toward Earth. The bridge was built inside the planet's core, surrounded by kilometers of rock and metal that protected the crew from the vacuum of space. Despite being underground, the holographic displays made it feel like she was flying through space in a transparent bubble. "Distance to Earth orbit, 12 million kilometers and closing," reported Lieutenant Ben Rodriguez from the navigation station. "Estimated arrival time, 4 hours and 37 minutes. Amy nodded. Terra Nova was accelerating smoothly, its gravitational drives pulling the entire planet through space without any vibration or engine noise. To the 50,000 crew members living in the cities built inside the planet, it felt like they were standing still. "Communications, open a channel to Luna Base," Amy ordered. The face of Admiral Morrison appeared on the main screen. Behind him, Amy could see the busy command center where dozens of officers monitored the approaching alien fleet. "Commander Foster, what's your status?" Morrison asked. "All systems operational, sir. Weapons arrays are charged and ready. Shield. Generators are at full power. We're ready for whatever they throw at us." Morrison looked tired, but determined. "The alien fleet is larger than we expected. Our long-range sensors show over 3,000 ships. They're maintaining formation at the edge of the solar system, but they're not hiding anymore." Amy studied the tactical display that showed the alien positions. The enemy fleet was spread out across millions of kilometers, but they were clearly coordinating their movements. This was not a random collection of ships. This was a military force that had been planning this attack for months. "Any response to our diplomatic channels?" she asked. "Nothing. They're not interested in talking," Morrison replied. "President Hayes made one final attempt at negotiation an hour ago. They didn't even acknowledge the transmission." Amy felt her stomach tighten. She had hoped that the aliens might reconsider when they realized humanity was prepared to fight back. But it seemed like they were committed to their course of action. "Orders, sir? Take position behind Earth's moon and wait for my signal. When the shooting starts, make sure they remember this day." The transmission ended, leaving Amy alone with her thoughts. She had been preparing for this moment for 5 years, training on simulators and learning every system aboard Terra Nova. But nothing could have prepared her for the reality of taking a weaponized planet into combat against an alien armada. "Captain, incoming transmission from the alien fleet," called out Lieutenant Sarah Kim from the communications station. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies." "Put it on screen." The bridge filled with the image of High Commander Zephyros, the same alien who had delivered the ultimatum 3 days ago. His scaled face showed no emotion as he stared directly at the camera. "Humans of Earth," he began, "your time limit has expired. You have chosen extinction over wisdom. We are disappointed, but not surprised." Amy watched as the tactical display showed the alien fleet beginning to move. Thousands of ships were accelerating toward Earth, their weapons already charging for the attack. "You will watch as we cleanse your colonies from the galaxy," Zephyros continued. "Then we will deal with your homeworld. Your species will serve as an example to others who might consider challenging the established order." The transmission ended, and Amy immediately opened communications with Luna Base. "Admiral, they're moving. Estimated time to weapons range, 6 hours. "Copy that, Commander. You are authorized to engage enemy forces at your discretion. Show them what humanity is capable of." Amy turned to her crew. These were the best military personnel humanity had to offer, hand-picked from every branch of service and trained for this exact moment. She could see the determination in their eyes, mixed with the natural fear that came before any battle. All stations, report status, she ordered. Weapon systems operational, called out Commander Gary Mitchell from the tactical station. Primary gravitational lances ready to fire. Secondary particle arrays standing by. All defensive systems online. Engineering. Reports all drives functioning normally, added Chief Engineer Lisa Park. We can maintain maximum acceleration for 72 hours without strain. Navigation confirms optimal attack vector, reported Ben Rodriguez. We're positioned to intercept the enemy fleet in 4 hours and 15 minutes. Amy looked at the holographic display that showed Terra Nova's position relative to Earth and the approaching alien fleet. Her ship was a dark sphere moving silently through space, invisible to most sensors and armed with weapons that could reshape the battlefield. Helm, adjust course to intercept the alien vanguard. Let's give them something to think about. As Terra Nova changed direction, Amy opened a channel to the other planet ships. New Eden was just coming online, its systems still being tested by the engineering crews. Liberty's Dawn was not ready for combat, but it could provide support if needed. New Eden, this is Terra Nova. What's your status? Captain Steve Palmer appeared on the secondary screen. His ship was smaller than Terra Nova, but it was designed for stealth operations. All systems green, Amy. We're ready to back you up. Good. Stay hidden until I give the signal. I want them to think Terra Nova is alone. Palmer nodded. Roger that. New Eden standing by. Amy closed the channel and focused on the approaching battle. The alien fleet was massive, but she had advantages they could not imagine. Terra Nova was not just a ship. It was a mobile fortress with enough firepower to level continents and shields that could absorb nuclear explosions. Captain, the alien fleet is entering our sensor range, reported Sarah Kim. They're scanning us with active sensors. Amy smiled. Let them scan all they wanted. Terra Nova's true capabilities would remain hidden until the moment she chose to reveal them. Distance to contact? 2 million kilometers and closing, Ben replied. They're maintaining formation, but their lead ships are accelerating faster than the main body. Amy studied the enemy formation. The aliens were spreading out, trying to surround Terra Nova with superior numbers. It was a classic fleet engagement. Tactic, but it would not work against a target this size. Tactical, prepare to engage the lead elements. Target their command ships first. Gary Mitchell's hands moved across his control panel, activating weapon systems that had never been used. In actual combat, gravitational lances charging. Target locks acquired on 12 enemy command vessels. The alien fleet was close enough now that Amy could see individual ships on the display. Their largest vessels were impressive, but they were still tiny compared to Terra Nova. The biggest alien dreadnought was maybe 2 kilometers long. Terra Nova was over 4,000 kilometers in diameter. Captain, incoming transmission from the alien fleet, Sarah reported. Let's hear what they have to say. A different alien appeared on screen, this one with blue skin and 4 arms. Amy recognized it as one of the commanders from the original Ultimatum broadcast. Unknown vessel, you are interfering with Galactic Council operations. Identify yourself and withdraw immediately. Amy stood up from her command chair. This was the moment that would define humanity's future among the stars. This is Commander Amy Foster of the human ship Terra Nova. You are in violation of human territorial space. Withdraw your fleet immediately or face the consequences. The alien commander's expression changed from confusion to anger. Human ship? That is impossible. No species has ships of this magnitude. You're about to learn that humanity does things differently, Amy replied. You have 60 seconds to begin your withdrawal. The transmission ended, and Amy could see the alien fleet adjusting its formation. They were clearly trying to understand what they were facing, but their sensors could not penetrate Terra Nova's advanced stealth systems. Captain, multiple enemy ships are targeting us with weapons, Gary reported. They're preparing to fire. Amy had hoped the aliens would choose wisdom over violence, but it seemed they were committed to their course. "All hands, prepare for combat. This is not a drill." The red alert sirens echoed through Terra Nova's corridors as 50,000 crew, members prepared for the first battle of the Galactic War. Amy took one last look at Earth, hanging in space like a blue jewel. This was what they were fighting for. This was why humanity had built planet ships and turned worlds into weapons. Tactical. You may fire when ready. News of Terra Nova's victory spread across the galaxy faster than light itself, carried by quantum communication networks that connected every major world in Galactic Council space. On the throne world of Nexus Prime, Supreme Commander Vexithera stood before a massive holographic display that showed the remains of the first attack fleet. Where 3,000 ships had once been, only twisted metal and debris fields remained. The human weapon had destroyed Admiral Kyle Bennett's entire vanguard in less than 30 minutes, using weapons that bent the laws of physics in ways that defied all military doctrine. "Analysis complete, Supreme Commander," reported Chief Intelligence. Officer Kethvar, a tall creature with crystalline skin that reflected the light of the holographic displays. The human vessel appears to be a militarized planetoid with mass equivalent to a small moon. Its primary weapons manipulate gravitational fields to crush targets at the molecular level. Vexithera studied the tactical recordings from the few ships that had escaped the massacre. The human ship moved through space like a conventional vessel, but it was clearly something much more dangerous. No species in galactic history had ever weaponized celestial bodies on this scale. "Casualty report?" she asked. "Complete loss of the Vanguard fleet. 3,000 ships, 400,000 crew members. The humans suffered no detectable damage." Vexithara closed her 4 eyes and tried to process the implications. The Galactic Council had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years, maintaining peace through superior firepower and coordinated military action. No single species had ever challenged their authority and survived. "What do we know about their construction capabilities?" she asked. Kethvar brought up intelligence reports from across Council space. "Long-range sensors have detected at least 2 additional objects of similar size in the human system, possibly more. Their construction methods are unknown, but they appear to be converting natural celestial bodies into mobile weapons platforms." In the corner of the command center, War Master Thexara of the Hegemony watched the recordings with growing concern. His species had been fighting wars for millions of years, and he had never seen anything like the human ship's capabilities. "Supreme Commander, I recommend immediate mobilization of the full Council fleet," he said. "If the humans can build more of these weapons, they represent an existential threat to galactic civilization." Vexithera nodded slowly. "How long to assemble the combined fleets?" 48 hours to gather the core battle groups. 72 hours for full mobilization. We can deploy 50,000 ships from 12 different species." "Make it happen. And contact our intelligence networks in neutral space. I want to know everything about human military capabilities." Meanwhile, in the Sol system, Admiral Morrison was coordinating humanity's defense from the expanded command center on Luna Base. The alien scout ships at the edge of the solar system had been reinforced with heavier vessels and long-range sensors, were detecting massive fleet movements throughout Council space. "They're not giving up," reported General Carter from his position at the tactical display. "Our deep space monitoring stations are picking up communication traffic from every major alien homeworld. This is going to be the largest military mobilization in galactic history." Morrison nodded grimly. Terra Nova's victory had bought humanity time, but it had also escalated the conflict beyond anything they had originally planned. The galaxy now saw humans as a threat that had to be eliminated. "Status report on our planet ships?" Dr. Rodriguez looked up from her engineering displays. "Terra Nova is fully operational and moving to defensive positions near Mars. New Eden completed final systems testing an hour ago and is ready for combat. Liberty's Dawn is 70% complete, but we can have her operational in 48 hours if we pull resources from other projects. Morrison studied the holographic display that showed the solar system's defenses. 3 planet ships against 50,000 enemy vessels. The odds were still impossible, but at least humanity would go down fighting. What about conventional forces? Asked President Hayes, who had arrived at Luna Base to personally oversee the crisis. Every ship in the fleet is being recalled to Earth, Morrison replied. We have 200 vessels of various classes, but they won't make a significant difference against what's coming. Dr. Rodriguez was working at her personal tablet, reviewing construction reports from across the solar system. Mr. President, I need to brief you on something important. Project Titan was originally designed as a deterrent, not a war-fighting system. Hayes looked up sharply. What do you mean? The planet ships were supposed to convince potential enemies that attacking humanity would be too costly. We never planned to fight a galactic war with them. Chief Engineer Danny Wright joined the conversation from his station. The exotic matter reserves are critically low. After we complete Liberty's Dawn, we won't be able to build any more planet ships for at least 2 years. And that's assuming we can find new sources of the materials we need. Morrison felt his stomach drop. So we have 3 ships to fight the entire galaxy? Unless we can capture alien technology or discover new resource deposits, Rodriguez confirmed. The gravitational drives require specific types of exotic matter that are extremely rare. President Hayes was quiet for a long moment, weighing their options. Dr. Rodriguez, in your professional opinion, can 3 planet ships defeat a fleet of 50,000 alien vessels? Individually, each planet ship is essentially invulnerable to conventional weapons. But if they concentrate their entire fleet against a single target, even Terra Nova might be overwhelmed. The real question is whether we can use our mobility advantage to prevent them from achieving that concentration. On Terra Nova, Commander Foster was reviewing the intelligence reports from the battle with Admiral Morrison. Her ship had performed perfectly, but she was troubled by the tactical implications of what they had learned. Admiral, the aliens adapted faster than we expected, she reported over the communication link. Their remaining ships began using coordinated attacks and gravitational anchors to limit our maneuverability. If they had more time to adjust their tactics, the battle might have gone differently. Morrison nodded. What's your assessment of our chances against a full-scale assault? Foster looked at her tactical displays, running battle simulations in her mind. Terra Nova can handle significant enemy numbers, but we're not invincible. If they bring everything they have and coordinate properly, we'll be in trouble. What do you recommend? Hit them before they can organize. Strike their fleet concentration points while they're still scattered. Don't let them achieve the numerical advantage they're planning. Morrison considered the suggestion. An offensive strategy would mean taking the war to alien space, potentially making enemies of species that might otherwise remain neutral. But it might be humanity's only chance of survival. Stand by, Commander. I need to discuss this with the President. Morrison closed the communication link and turned to President Hayes. Sir, Commander Foster is recommending a preemptive strike against alien fleet concentration points. We could take Terra Nova and New Eden into enemy space and hit them while they're still gathering their forces. Hayes looked shocked. That would be an act of war against the entire galaxy. With respect, sir, they already declared war on us. The only question is whether we fight defensively or take the initiative. General Carter was studying star charts on his tablet. A preemptive strike would require detailed intelligence about alien fleet positions and logistics. We don't have that kind of information. Dr. Rodriguez looked up from her workstation. Actually, we might. The ancient artifacts that gave us gravitational drive technology also included star charts and navigation data. Some of it appears to show the locations of major alien naval bases. Morrison felt a spark of hope. How reliable is that information? Unknown. The data is at least 1,000 years old, possibly much older. But if even some of those bases are still active, we could target their fleet concentration points before they're ready for us. President Hayes was clearly struggling with the decision. Ordering an attack on alien space would make him responsible for starting the first interstellar war in human history, but allowing the aliens to gather their full strength might mean the extinction of humanity. "How long do we have before their fleets are fully assembled?" he asked. 48 hours for their core battle groups," Morrison replied. 72 hours for complete mobilization. Hayes looked out the window at Earth hanging in space below Luna Base. Billions of human lives depended on the decision he was about to make. "Dr. Rodriguez, how quickly can you get those star charts to our planet ships?" "Immediately, sir. The data is already loaded into Terra Nova's navigation computers." Hayes took a deep breath. "Admiral Morrison, you are authorized to take Terra, Nova, and New Eden into enemy space. Target their fleet concentration points and disrupt their mobilization efforts. But remember, we're fighting for humanity's survival, not conquest." Morrison saluted. "Understood, sir. We'll show the galaxy what happens when someone threatens Earth." Terra Nova emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Zephyrian system, like a dark moon suddenly appearing in the night sky. Commander Foster watched the tactical displays as her sensors swept across the largest alien naval base in the galaxy, counting ships and identifying targets. "Contact," reported Lieutenant Rodriguez from the sensor station. 14,000 vessels in various stages of assembly. Looks like they're organizing into battle groups. Foster studied the formation spread across millions of kilometers of space. The aliens had been gathering ships from across their empire, creating the largest military force in galactic history. But they had made one critical mistake. They had concentrated all their strength in one location. "Communications. Open. A channel to New Eden," Foster ordered. Captain Palmer's face appeared on the secondary screen. His planet ship was positioned on the far side of the system, ready to catch any vessels that tried to escape Terra Nova's attack. "We count 14,000 ships, Steve. How many can you handle?" "New Eden is ready for anything they throw at us. Just give the signal." Foster nodded and opened a communication channel to Admiral Morrison back in the Sol system. "Admiral, we're in position. The entire Zephyrian battle fleet is spread out in front of us, requesting permission to engage." Morrison's voice came through clearly despite the distance. "You are authorized to commence the attack. Show them that humanity fights back." Foster turned to her weapons officer. "Commander Mitchell, you may fire when ready." The gravitational lances activated silently, invisible beams of twisted space-time reaching across millions of kilometers to target the alien command ships. The first alien vessel simply collapsed in on itself, its entire structure compressed into a sphere of super-dense matter barely 10 meters across. On the bridge of the Zephyrian flagship Eternal Glory, Admiral Kesithera watched in horror as her entire vanguard was destroyed in the first 30 seconds of the battle. The human weapons ignored shields, bypassed armor, and crushed ships like an invisible hand squeezing tin cans. "All ships, scatter formation," she ordered desperately. "Do not allow them to target multiple vessels at once." But it was too late. Terra Nova was already adjusting its targeting systems, and the alien fleet was too large to escape quickly. Ship after ship vanished from the tactical displays as the gravitational weapons found their marks. "Return fire," Kesithera commanded. "All weapons, target the human vessel." Thousands of alien ships opened fire simultaneously, their energy weapons and missiles creating a light show that could be seen from the outer planets. The combined firepower of the Zephyrian fleet could have destroyed entire worlds, but it barely scratched Terra Nova's planetary shields. Foster watched the enemy barrage impact her ship's defenses without causing any significant damage. "Tactical. Continue firing. Target their largest vessels first." "Yes, ma'am." Switching to primary battle groups. The battle continued for 2 hours as Terra Nova systematically destroyed the alien fleet. New Eden joined the attack, using its stealth capabilities to target ships that tried to flee. By the time the shooting stopped, Over 10,000 alien vessels had been reduced to debris fields floating in space. Admiral Thara found herself commanding the last 300 ships of what had been the pride of the Zephyrian Navy. Her flagship was damaged, her fleet was scattered, and the human weapons were still targeting her remaining vessels. "This is Admiral Thara of the Galactic Council Fleet," she broadcast on all frequencies. "We request immediate ceasefire negotiations." Foster considered the request. Her orders had been to disrupt the alien mobilization, and she had certainly accomplished that mission. "Admiral, you are in violation of human territorial sovereignty. Withdraw your remaining forces beyond the galactic rim, and we will consider your request." "That is impossible. Our ships do not have the range for such a journey." "Then I suggest you find alternative arrangements. You have 1 hour to begin your withdrawal." The transmission ended, leaving Thara with an impossible choice. Surrender meant the end of her career and possibly her life. Continuing to fight meant the certain destruction of her remaining ships. Back in the Sol system, news of Terra Nova's victory was spreading through human space like wildfire. Admiral Morrison watched the battle reports with a mixture of relief and concern. They had won this engagement, but the war was far from over. "Sir, we're receiving priority transmissions from multiple alien governments," reported Communications Officer Taylor. "It looks like the other species are reconsidering their position." Morrison walked over to the communications station. "What are they saying?" "The hegemony is requesting immediate peace negotiations. The Crystal Collective is offering to mediate. Even the Zephyrian Empire is talking about ceasefire agreements." President Hayes arrived in the command center just as the first formal diplomatic message arrived. It was from Supreme Commander Thara herself, broadcast from the Galactic Council's headquarters on Nexus Prime. "Humans of Earth," the alien commander began, her 4 eyes showing a mixture of respect and fear. "The Galactic Council acknowledges that we have underestimated your military capabilities. We are prepared to negotiate a peaceful resolution to this conflict." Hayes looked at Morrison. "What do you think? Can we trust them?" "I think they're scared," Morrison replied. "Terra Nova just destroyed their largest fleet in 2 hours. They're probably wondering how many more planet ships we have." Dr. Rodriguez was monitoring the communication networks across alien space. The intelligence intercepts show panic in their command structures. Several species are withdrawing their fleets and returning to defensive positions around their homeworlds. Hayes nodded. "Open a channel. Let's see what they're offering." The main screen filled with the image of Supreme Commander Thara, flanked by representatives from all 12 species of the Galactic Council. They looked like beings who had just realized that the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted permanently. "Supreme Commander," Hayes began, "the United Nations of Earth is prepared to discuss terms, but our conditions are non-negotiable. Full recognition of human territorial claims, immediate withdrawal of all alien forces from human space, and formal acknowledgement of humanity as an equal member of the galactic community." Thara was quiet for a long moment before responding. "Your terms are acceptable in principle, but we must discuss the implications of your weapons technology. The galaxy has lived in peace for 10,000 years because no single species possessed the power to threaten all others." "We didn't threaten anyone," Hayes replied firmly. "You came to our system with ultimatums and threats of extinction. We defended ourselves." "By weaponizing planets themselves," interjected War Master Thexera. "Such power could destabilize the entire galactic order." Morrison stepped forward. "The galactic order tried to commit genocide against humanity. Maybe it needs to be destabilized." The alien representatives exchanged glances, clearly uncomfortable with the direction of the conversation. Finally, Thara spoke again. "What assurances can you give that humanity will not use these weapons for conquest?" Hayes considered the question carefully. "The same assurances that any species can give. We want to live in peace, but we will." defend ourselves against any threat. The choice of peace or war belongs to you, not us. After several hours of negotiation, the framework for the Sol Accords began to take shape. Humanity would be recognized as the 13th member of the Galactic Council with full voting rights and territorial sovereignty. The alien fleets would withdraw beyond the heliopause and remain there pending formal ratification of the treaty. As the negotiations concluded, Foster received new orders from Admiral Morrison. Terra Nova and New Eden would return to the Sol system, but they would take a route that passed through several major alien systems. The message was clear. Humanity could project power anywhere in the galaxy. On Luna Base, Dr. Rodriguez was already working on plans for the next phase of Project Titan. The exotic matter reserves were low, but the ancient artifacts contained hints about other technologies that might revolutionize space warfare even further. "Mr. President," she said to Hayes as he reviewed the treaty documents, "I should inform you that the alien databases we captured contain references to weapons that make our planet ships look primitive. If other species discover this technology, we might find ourselves outgunned again." Hayes looked up sharply. "What kind of weapons?" "Star killers. Weapons that can cause suns to go supernova. The ancient civilization that left those artifacts apparently had the power to destroy entire solar systems." Morrison joined the conversation. "Are you suggesting we try to build these weapons?" "I'm suggesting we learn everything we can before someone else does," Rodriguez replied. "The galaxy just learned that humanity refuses to be pushed around. Other species might decide to find bigger weapons." Hayes looked out the window at Earth, now safe from immediate threat, but facing an uncertain future among the stars. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible, and there would be consequences for generations to come. "Dr. Rodriguez, I want you to study those artifacts, but with strict oversight. We won't become the threat that the aliens feared we were." As Terra Nova began its journey home, Commander Foster stood in the observation deck and watched the stars. Humanity had fought its first interstellar war and won, but